Okay, so coin name only because about 10 years ago I played way too much rock band and sang the belly song "Feed the Tree" a lot. But it'll make sense. It'll make sense. This is me talking to the community about something that SoftServ has planned, which is the Samvera developer training workshops for 2023. And this is about growing the tree, responding to a Samvera community need. Having new qualified developers in the space is absolutely essential to sustaining the community. The idiosyncrasies of the technology are a barrier to progress for individual institutions and community growth in general. And documentation and other training resources are currently inadequate to have somebody just kind of jump in and learn the Samvera ways. And that's understandable with open source. This is something that comes up once in a while, most recently in the in-person partners call, talking about ways to keep growth going in the community and sustain it, making sure that the talent is in the community. So SoftServ's response to this and our way of contributing is to present the Samvera developer training workshops. Our goals here are to provide a path for institutions and organizations to train up new developers in Samvera space and enable them to be more self-reliant, to benefit the community at large by equipping more developers with skill sets to support the technology and to sustain the community, and to reinforce a support network, not just between the community developers and SoftServ, but between one another via collaboratively working. And this does pick up, SoftServ has heard from a lot of folks in the community. We have some clients who have come to us and said, we lost our Hyrax developer, or we are exploring this and don't quite have everything we need. We've got the team on staff, but not the expert knowledge. So this is really designed to help people get across the curve. And a lot is due to data curation experts and their Samvera camp that has not occurred for several years. And this is our way of helping to bring something like that back to the community. The curriculum that we have defined may undergo some changes, but is not likely. We came up with this with our Samvera developers on staff and talked to some folks in the community and did some reprioritization. And we're looking at an initial series of 10 workshops that would be on Samvera specific skills. And I will keep this slide up here because there's a lot of information, but just talking through roughly the 10 that we're looking at is spinning up a Samvera app, a session on work types and creating and customizing those, a session on customizing search capabilities and facets, theming challenges that are specific to Samvera and UI changes, Bulk-Rack's intro. Bulk-Rack's dives pretty deep, but we're looking at kind of a part 1 beginner session dealing just with the CSV format, custom mappings and error resolution, testing specific to Samvera, maintenance and support security issues that Samvera apps need attention to, gems, another really big topic, but we're going to focus this session on the DOI gem and the OAI gem, general development best practices in the space, and then deploying to AWS. If this goes well, if this is well received, we already have ideas planned for a second set, maybe in the spring, but one thing at a time. The format that we are looking at here, you may or may not know that Rob Kaufman co-founded a coding bootcamp, Learn Academy, and it's in its 9th year going strong. And that format is that the instructor would come in and present, demo, and teach for maybe an hour, and then the next several hours the students are pairing together to really reinforce what they've learned and practice it in real time, and rely more on each other to try to solve problems than just raising their hand and getting attention unless they need to get unblocked on something. So we're kind of setting this up the same way. It's going to be virtual. It won't be online. People don't have to fly across the country. We will be using a collaborative webinar tool, and each workshop will start with a session of demo code walkthrough, a lecture by a SoftServ developer who specializes in that topic. The instructors will change depending on the topic and availability. It's going to be followed then by hands-on workshop. So people, the attendees will pair together with coding exercises to implement what they've learned. And like I said, we will have people working in pairs or small mobs, depending on the number of folks, to collaborate and try to do as much of their own problem solving and really learn from doing that way. Our developers, the instructor and other developers will be available all day, checking in for questions, blockers, review. We also plan to schedule probably 2 office hours following each session, so that once folks kind of go back and think about it or try it at home and they reach a blocker or have other questions that come up, there'll be a space for them to do that. Just a few things. We will be using the Haiku code base, which will cover all of the applicable Samvera things. As you know, Haiku is built on Hyrax, so all the right pieces will be there. This is a developer-focused workshop. So this is not about how do I use this as a library administrator. It's about how do I, as a developer and engineer, interact with this code. So participants, we are assuming they will be a Rails developer that might be new to Samvera, or as long as they're learning Rails, this won't be a Ruby on Rails course. And we will, of course, share this with people who register, but we'll ask folks to watch the Samvera 101 presentation that just kind of lays the groundwork for a lot of these topics. We're going to do this in fall, likely Wednesdays. Our current schedule has them Wednesdays, once a week, from September 6th to November 15th. And that's 11 weeks, 10 sessions, because Samvera Connect is in there, so we'll skip a week for that. This schedule was designed to minimize the impact of other, people can keep doing their job and step out for this 1 day a week, as opposed to, attending a 2-week course or something like that. And the timing was also arrived at in consultation with some university administrator folks who thought that this would fit best for their technical teams. So hopefully that's the right target. And we do have the stipulation that if we don't have at least 6 registrants, we cannot hold the sessions. It just won't be sustainable. So we have enough interest in this that we think that won't be a problem, but just putting that out there. We have the costs set for the series of all 10. If we're in the position, if we have enough folks to register for all of them, we may be able to offer individual workshops. So we'll stay in communication about that. Somebody that might be a Samvera developer for 5 years, but not know anything about bulk racks, just wants to come to that session, we'll try to make that work. And we're messaging this now because we know that you may be dealing with having a little bit of budget to spend before the end of June, or planning what you're going to spend your budget on in the next fiscal year. So we just wanted to get this message out now. So what to do? I do have a form. I tried to pick the short link, but it's still not human readable. So that's nothing you can easily memorize, but there is a sign up form. It's not a commitment. It doesn't make you send money. It just kind of like puts you in the system so we can count on your attendance, and then we'll wrap up the logistics once we absolutely finalize the schedules and the topics, and deal with how to invoice your institution. So don't be afraid to sign up, even if you're not 100% sure. I've also got a link to a summary of this information, and I will put these links in the Connect chat immediately after I'm done talking. And you can always send me an email. So I'm Kevin Kochanski at scientist.com. If you need more information on this, if you need something to show your financial office to say this is worthwhile, we can put something together for you. If you have some interest but just really want to make sure you're kept in the loop, feel free to let me know. And if you have any other questions, of course, you can send those over to me. We will continue to update the Samvera community list and Samvera Slack for reminders and other updates. So don't feel like if you didn't write everything down right now, you've missed your chance, because you haven't. And just kind of recapping all of those things while I say thank you, and show this one final slide. I really liked this template. I found it, and embellished it with some little Samvera trees that kind of fit right in. And you might see more of this one because I thought it was cool. All right. Thank you, everybody.